Assalamualaikum. Hi guys. In the previous video, you've learned there are 3 variations for atomic radius. Now, I hope you can understand there are 2 special layouts that you have to use when explaining in your answer. We got the first one across the period. So which layout we are going to use? So across the period, we know that the atomic radius decreases. This is because you have the higher value for ZEF, it will affect a smaller atomic radius. So saya akan illustrate based on triangle just like this form. So you can see that across the period, if I got one atom here and the next atom in the same period, the size becomes smaller. That is why saya guna this triangle. So this is for elements across the period and the factor that we will use is ZEF. So now, in order for you to explain, we are going to use the layout based on acronym PISAS. So saya harap semua orang can memorize the trend for PISAS. When proton number increases, ZEF also increase. The nucleus attraction with the valence electron also increase. Hence, the size becomes smaller. So how do you want to know? Your question asks you to describe based on which layout. This is where you have to determine the value for n, principal quantum number. If the n value is same for the elements that you need to explain, maknanya kita akan gunakan PISAS. Hence, the factor will be ZEF. Next, we go for the second variation. We got down the group. So in theory, we know down the group, the size of atom will become larger. This is because you have to explain based on higher number of principal quantum number can affect the shielding effect. That is why you got the atomic radius going down the group becomes larger. Saya akan gunakan triangle menegak macam ni, so that you know that going down the group, the size becomes larger and larger. So this is for elements going down the group. What can you conclude based on this variation? Kita akan gunakan layout and SAS. So please memorize this trend where when your principal quantum number increase, shielding effect will increase. Forces attraction between valence electron and nucleus will become weaker, hence the size becomes larger. So how do we want to know which layout we are going to use? As I mentioned before, whether PISAS or NSAS. For NSAS, it will be determined based on n value that is different. Hence, the factor that we will use is shielding effect. And don't forget, we got another one more last variation, but for this one, kita tak ada acronym yang spesifik because we are going to talk about cancelling out the screening effect. So apa tu cancel out screening effect? You know that the size for atom based on the first row of transition metals here, yang kita fokuskan untuk this part sahaja, awak akan nampak size dia tak terlalu ketara perbezaannya. That is why we know that their atomic radius remains constant. This is because the effect of increased nuclear charge. This increased nuclear charge will be cancelled out by screening effect of electrons in inner 3D orbital. So itu sahaja for 3 variations of atomic radius in the predict table. As a conclusion, I made this part for you to understand. You are needed to explain based on main group elements sahaja yang saya tunjukkan dekat sini and this part including with the first row of D block elements. So the size for elements going down the group will increase. If you see here, saya guna triangle menegak. And across the period, the size will become smaller. Saya gunakan triangle melintang macam this one. So I hope you can memorize again and again, as I mentioned, the trend for atomic radii based on which layout that you need to use. So that's it for this summary. I will see you in the next video. Bye.